What up? Welcome back for another Malazan Book of the Fallen video. This time we're wrapping up with Darujhistan, chapters 11 through 13, before we head outside the city walls into the Gadrobi Hills, where the action really starts to heat up. But before we get there, let's finish up with the stage setting and get into it. So chapter 11 kicks off back in one of Krupp's dreams, and this is one of the coolest dreams ever. So he goes back about 300,000 years. He links up with Pran Cole, who, and I'm sure I'm butchering that, but he's an IMAS bone caster back in the time when the IMAS were like still humans. We find out that for whatever reason, Krupp's dreams are basically immune to the effects of any of these kind of younger gods, anybody who's not an elder god. Pran Cole is able to come in. Krull, the elder god, is actually able to come into Krupp's dream as well, and we find out that basically when Tattersail sent off her huge like fire column, and if you haven't seen my previous video, you can check it out up there somewhere there, and that talks all about the fireball. But because she set off this huge fire column within close proximity to Tool's kind of Talon Warren that he had out to make sure that people couldn't use magic in that area, it actually touched on Talon, and that brought Pran Cole into the mix. We find out that this kind of little being that scurried away when Ganos and Talk were checking out the crime scene of Tattersail's death, that is like a new soul, or Tattersail's soul at least, that they're looking for a new home for it. So they bring this kind of pregnant woman into Krupp's dream, and the idea is that they're going to take this kind of soul of Tattersail in this weird deformed mangled like night chill body and transfer the soul into this baby that's being carried by this Rivy Plains woman. So it's actually, one of the crazy dreams that happens. It's kind of early on and you feel like overwhelmed with all that's happening, but this is one to watch because this stuff plays out over the whole rest of the books, and I think even beyond the end of the books we might see more of the consequences of this stuff later on. Then we jump back inside Darujhistan to my boy Whiskeyjack and the Bridge Burners, who are just kind of going gangbusters, planting explosives all over the city. It's pretty hilarious, actually. Like, they're planting them right outside in the street, outside of the Alchemist Baruch's house. He's thinking about what the Empire's gonna do, and like wondering where they're going to invade and how they're going to come into Darujhistan, and like all the while they're like literally right outside your window, bro. This is also the first time when Sari IDs to Whiskeyjack and all the Bridge Burners that Krupp is like this super important dude that they need to keep an eye on. And she actually follows Krupp to the Phoenix Inn and ends up actually stabbing Chert, the like front door guard, like right in the eyeball, right out in front of the bar, then just goes in and has a beer. Then we jump back to your boy Crocus Younghand, who I'm not the biggest fan of. He basically goes to talk to his uncle. He decides, I'm going to go straight for this girl and try and win her over with like intellect and education and social stature. Don't get me started on Crocus, but we also learn in that conversation the idea that Darujhistan is born on a rumor. That's just like this legend or myth or saying that's there in Darujhistan, but it really was born on a rumor because there's a Jagat tyrant buried somewhere outside the city walls, and that's what brought all these people there to kind of discover the Barrow and take that Jagat power for themselves, and the city is just kind of a result of all these people coming to look for that rumor, and the city formed, in the wake of all these kind of people coming and hunting for that power. Meanwhile, Callum and Quick Ben are pursuing like the second part of the plan. The idea is to basically put out a hit contract with the local Assassins Guild to take out the Torud Cabal and wipe out the entire power structure, thereby making it easy for the Empire to just kind of come in and take over. Quick Ben also mentions wanting to get like more gods and ascendants into the mix because chaos is going to be their friend in this. And so he jumps into the Warrens and like steals his way into the realm of shadow. Next up, we flash to Baruch, the alchemist's house. Crone's there. She's telling him all about what she saw out on the Rivi Plain with Hairlock using chaos and coming towards Darujhistan. Baruch tells her, like, yeah, I know, and there's also other people coming to free this Jaga tyrant, but I'm not going to tell you where the barrow is because I don't trust your boss yet. And then Krupp stops by, and he basically sends Krupp on an errand. He says that the coin bearer does need to be protected, so he has Krupp, Rallick, Marulio, Cole, and Crocus, and he sends them all out of the city to the Gadrobi Hills to basically keep an eye out for somebody who's going to be coming out and digging for the barrow. Essentially, he's telling them to watch out for Lorne and Tool, but he just doesn't know who that is that's on the way at this point in time. Then we link back up with Quick Ben, who's actually in Shadow, like within moments of getting into Shadow. The Hounds of Shadow actually show up, and he's kind of scared, but he knows them all, like, on a first-name basis, and they actually take him to see Shadow Throne. He basically comes up with this deal, and he tells them, yeah, like, look, I used to be an acolyte of Shadow, but essentially, I know who's been intruding into your warren, and he says, I'll help you get him, and I'll give him up to you if you give me a pardon for being kind of like an acolyte who chunked the deuces on Shadow and is no longer kind of part of that religion. Shadow Throne's kind of pissed, but you gotta give it up for Quick Ben. He wheels and deals and kind of gets it, and then he jumps back to his body right as like Shadow Throne's realizing Quick Ben used to be the high mage of Shadow. Score one for Quick Ben on that. When Quick Ben jumps back into his body, Sari shows up almost right away and tells him, like, hey, those assassins you're looking for, they're hanging out at the Phoenix Inn, and I saw them there when I tracked Krupp down. And so this is where those kind of separate factions are starting to come together, where the kind of Empire contingent, the Malazan contingent, is going to get together with the Darujhistan contingent, and the Phoenix Inn is kind of that nexus point where they're all going to start coming together. So they show up at the Phoenix Inn right away. Rallick Nam marks them, figures out that they're assassins, knows that Callum's a claw, goes back out and talks to his manager, and they decide he's got to kind of lure him out to a meeting or an ambush. It's not totally clear which one it's going to end up being, but he takes off and they start to follow. So Quick Ben hooks up some like levitation magic. He hooks Callum up with the ability to see magic, and they start following Rallick Nam to the meeting spot to basically get ambushed by the local Assassins Guild. At this time, there's like a demon flying around, and he's thinking about coming down and taking out the assassins or taking out Callum and Quick Ben. But at that time, the hunters come down and actually take out this kind of dragon, this dog-sized dragon that's flying around. Like, they get to the meeting point, and instead of Callum either getting ambushed or meeting with the Assassins Guild, these hunters come down and just start attacking everybody. Quick Ben and Callum do escape, but just barely. Callum gets super jacked up. Quick Ben has to release one of these kind of Korvala demons that he stole from Tay Shren, and that thing gets killed like almost immediately by these hunters. And they do get away, but just barely. We do find out, though, that 4 of these hunters do get taken down. 2 of them actually by Callum. It wasn't even all by the demon. So Callum, straight up G. But basically, in a meeting with Alchemist Baruch at the end of this, Anomander Rake comes in and basically says, look, that was me. Those were my like Tistandi mages and assassins who were there taking out the Assassins Guild and the Claw. And Baruch's like, what? How are you doing that? Why would you ever do that? We're like, Darujhistan, I thought was supposed to be your ally. And he's like, look, I know the Empire game. They come in and do this where they put out a hit job on the city's real rulers. And so if I take out the Assassins Guild, there's nobody to execute the contract, which is just straight up cold-blooded killer. He does not give a basically is willing to do whatever to achieve his goal, even if it means kind of screwing over some of the people from the city that he's ultimately trying to protect. So you get to see that kind of stone cold side of Anomander Rake in this chapter and find out that these hunters and assassins are really the kind of Tistandi mages, and they were happy to let everyone think it was a claw because they wanted to sow dissension and make sure that the Empire didn't have those inroads into the Assassins Guild. So very smart strategically, but just straight up, again, cold-blooded. So that kind of takes us through the end of the Book of Darujhistan, which is like the second book of the Gardens of the Moon It's broken up into 4 or 5 books, something like that. So we're basically through about chapter 13. We're essentially halfway through and almost there. So things really heat up in the Gadrobi Hills. So this next video is going to be a lot of fun, but we're going to leave this one right here. Let me know in the comments how you're enjoying these books so far and what was your favorite part of this kind of first half of the books. I really like making these videos and I'm having a lot of fun reading all your comments and having that dialogue. You can also join me in the Facebook group, which I'll flash out here on the screen for you. If you like it, make sure to give it a thumbs up so that those YouTube gods promote it and we get lots more Malazan readers into the books and hopefully into this channel. Make sure to click subscribe and turn on those post notifications. That way you never miss a video. And until the next one, happy reading.